And this is what you get to see when you start your project. So you can come here and say my project, and then locate somewhere within your system where you're going to save the file. Skip this bit unless you want to use Git. For now, we're not using Git. You can create a main.py file, welcome script, but I'll show you how to do that manually. So what you understand is that the main.py file ultimately should be your primary file to start your program. Then you have here interpreter type, project venv. I'll go with that. You can choose custom environment for a new virtual environment. You can choose base conda if you have Anaconda installed. And then you select your Python version, which would sort of come down here if you click on that drop down. Just click create, and then your project will be created. And then you have PyCharm showing up here. You can just maximize this. So what you have now, you have on the left a list of items within your project. You have this venv, that's your Python, your unique Python environment. And then you have the main project name there. What you can do is right click on that, click on new. So you need C file there. If you create a text file, what we'll be working on mostly will be the Python file and the Python package. So if you click on Python file, you just type main. It's just going to automatically add the py at the end. So what you want to do is have this main as your main file. That's where you call most of your code from. Then you go to my project, new Python package, and probably name that models. They're going to be creating several packages. So packages are more like folders where you keep your scripts. You'll notice that there's an init in there. That's supposed to tell PyCharm and Python that this models is part of the Python package. So which means that you can call whatever you place in here from within the main file. So what I'm going to do is go into the main file, do class. Say we want to represent a student in our program. We can say class student. Colon, and then def underscore init, press enter, and then put pass there. Pass just means that you can leave this empty while you work with other stuff. So if I remove the pass from there, you see that red thing there that says indent expected. But when I put a pass there, that means I can go off and do something else. I can go def run stairs, and then come down here, put a pass. So in other words, that's it. This is a student class, right? In order to use this within Python, you need to create an instance of this. So we can call this blueprint for student. All right. So what does a student have? A student will have a self.name, say equals empty string. So that needs to align with the pass there. So when you have a function, you need to have everything under that aligning on the next tab space. So that's, in this case, we're dealing with OOP. That's OOP. So this is a class, and these are methods. So I'll say self.age equals 13. And all I have to do is come down to main and create an instance of this class. So I'll say student, called student. And that way I have an object. So what I'll do here is say create student object from blueprint. So that's a blueprint, just like a house blueprint. But if you want to create a house, right? If you want to build a house, you have to create an object of that house. So from a single blueprint of a house, you can create 10 houses, you can create 20 houses. If you want to create something different, you have to have a different blueprint. So I'm going to say student dot run stairs. Or before we do that, let's name the student. Name equals George. Get the spelling right. Yep. And then you can say student dot age equals 20. And then what you can do is say student dot print. You won't say exactly what you want to print details. But there's going to underline that because there's nothing like print details in there. So you can say hard method. I'm just going to do that manually. Just copy that. And come there, def, and print. But then you have to have a self in there because self represents the fact that this is a class and the self represents the class itself. So I'm just going to put self colon and then print statement and put an F and then double single quotes there and say student name is, and then opening braces, put self dot name and then and age is, and then self dot age. So in order to run this, all I have to do is click on one of these items. So the one on the left says run, the one on the right says debug. You use the one on the right if you need to debug through your code. Debugging means you click on the left here and the program stops there, allowing you to investigate the variables, whatever is in the variables. But when you use the run, it ignores that point and just runs through the entire code. So let's just try this first. And then it says student name is George and age is 20. So what you understand is that it so replace these names, these variables here with the values here, but not just the values here, the values we've set down here. So if we're going to remove this, all you have to do is do something like comment out, put a hash there, and when you run this again, it says student name is George and age is 13. So it's using this, which is the default value, which because you haven't set it here. But what you usually want to do is sort of come into models and create a class. Now, before I do that, let's see what this other one does. If I click on the button here, make that red button and run this, you see that the program stops at that point. So it allows you to bring your mouse over and check what is in here. So you see that at this moment it's empty, and age, you see it's still 13, which is what was set here. But when it goes through this line, it sets it to 20. So if I put that mouse, it says 13. All I have to do is come down here, click on this, step over, and when I come back here, you see it's now changed to 20. So when I do the run, all I can do is click on this, so it goes into that specific function, and you can see it jumps back here. And then when I go to when I click on that button, it prints out student name is George and age is 20. But what you want to do normally in Python is not to have all this code within the main. You want to copy all this into a separate file. So go into model, new Python file, student. And when you have the student class, student file, see that the name is lowercase, I'll just have to copy all this. Say copy all this up to the point there, cut them out, go into student and paste them in here. So when you go back to main, you see that it shows red there. All you have to do is click on that, alt enter, and then import model student dot student. So what it does is import the student class from within the student file. Now, if I come down here and I wanted to create something else, like say lecturer, which means that if I do this, I came down here and says lecturer. So it shows the red sign there, but if I alt enter, it says create a class. So the class is already created. So all I have to do is come back down here, create a new Python file, name it lecturer, press enter. Same thing, class lecturer, def in it, enter, pass. And when I come back to main, it says import. Now it's detected that I've created a class lecturer. All I have to do is click on that import, and then it adds another line, says import lecture from models.lecturer import lecturer. Alternatively, you can say import student, comma, lecturer, and just copy that, paste in here. So you see that it's done that because lecturer is in a different file. If I paste a lecturer within the student class as well, you just have to import both of them from the student class. So basically, this is how you work with Python when you do OOP. So thanks for watching, and make sure to join the Python for Beginners course to learn more about this. And along the line, we'll get to meet and then I'll guide you through the process. Thanks, cheers, and see you soon. Bye.